Hi everyone, hope you're doing really well. I want to discuss why Tony Morris was removed. Everybody's had an opinion about this, but it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because he was what you would call the focal point of the governing body, wasn't he? He was the one that seemed to get the most attention, the one that people wanted to attack more than the others. So did Tony Morris make it about him? Well, there are certain videos that he did in the past where it was a case of them and him, not just them and the governing body. It was almost like he was taking praise. Like, remember when Moses struck the rock the second time? And he didn't give the glory back to God on that occasion, and that's why he didn't see the promised land. Did Tony Morris do something fairly similar to that when he was almost trying to create a two-tier organisation? And I'll give you an explanation. Do you remember at the height of COVID when a sister was mentioned by him? He specifically mentions this sister, and she took the vaccination, and he praised her on high. Now, by doing that, praising someone for doing this act of taking the vaccination, he was actually at that point creating a two-tier organisation, which is not something he should have done. He shouldn't have praised her and put her on a pedestal above those that were still holding back from taking the vaccination, if you understand what I mean. He should have remained without an opinion on it, like the rest were at the time. But he didn't. He seemed to make it all about him. So I don't think it was about his drinking, although, obviously he probably does rely on drink a bit. I think the evidence on that one is fairly straightforward. But I would say that he was removed because he made it about himself, just like Moses did. And that's why he's replaced. And they will come and replace them. It's almost the governing body setup. It's almost like musical chairs without the music. You substitute the music in this particular game for statements that they've made that are out of place. And when one of those statements is too far off base and does not create the unity amongst the group, they find themselves gone. This is what I've found. It's happened over the years. Some of them have moved away from that unity and they've made it about themselves. And that's why I think Tony Morris was removed. See, you can look at everything else that he's done and said. He's almost in the past baited the XJW community with that smoke video, Jehovah's Enemies, snuffed out like smoke. So he's set himself up, hasn't he, as the main governing body figurehead at that time. And I suppose the rest of them probably didn't like that. It shouldn't have been about just one GB member. It should have been about the whole group. But Tony Morris had a habit of putting himself on centre stage. Maybe he's always been that kind of person where he's craved that kind of attention, wanted to be the main focus of eyes. Well, he got what he wanted, and then he got removed. But the question is, I suppose, was he removed by just mere men, or was he removed by a higher source that saw his stance as one of disunity instead of unity? But now we've come to the point now where we've welcomed a couple of new members, because that's the way it is in this particular game of Jehovah's Witnesses, governing body, revolving doors, musical chairs without the music.